Good morning, friends. This is one of my most important video because many people have been calling back and they want to know that Mr. Das, why all this YouTube channel? What is the basic demand? What are you visioning in this fight between the system and the residents of these cantonments, 57, which I say all along my YouTubes? I will today put the demand and vision of my association and my research. It's very easy to ask for freehold ownership rights in these cantonments, but that will take us for a very long battle of litigation. Unfortunately or fortunately, in the last 60, 70 years or maybe more from Privy Council days, we have lost most of the judgments. So when the judiciary is not to our favor, how do you expect the system or the Prime Minister or the Ministry of Defence or even if any parliamentary committee which has come in force is made to give us any relief? So let us look for something which our ministry, our Prime Minister will be in a position to give us. There will not be too many questions of not giving us that. So let our demand be more sanguine, more genuine and more straighter. So I have been since 2010 have been writing on these 2 points. 2012 when I created that convention and we gave a representation. Further when we gave a physical representation with all our documents, we even asked the Director General Lands at that time, who was posted on the seat in 2012 December, that we will be looking for these 2 things. And what are those 2 things today? So you must know why these YouTube channels, why we are working on towards this. But even after working on this, we need to prepare ourselves with all our ammunition. I call this word ammunition because we are dealing with the Ministry of Defence, that is Army. So Army calls this ammunition. This is to be kept by us so that tomorrow when we face any notice or any problem, we can use this ammunition. Ammunition is in the form of evidence. Now let's come back. What are the 2 basic demands? First demand for bungalow area. We will hand over our properties when and ever the Ministry of Defence, Station Commander, Commander-in-Chief or the government demands that this land or this bungalow is required for public purpose within the cantonment under GGO 179 or any other GGO which I had been mentioning of 1827 or maybe of 1838. Now the question is, if we are willing to give it, what are we going to look back for it? We will not look back for any land policy for compensation. We will demand and we will say, if you are willing to pay us under Land Acquisition Act of 1894 or the LARR of 2013, we will not even confrontate, form an arbitration committee or form a committee of compensation, give us our compensation, we will walk out of these bungalows. That's one demand. Second demand, the entire civil area which has been notified under Rule 2 of 1937 CLA should be excised. It should be left. It should move to the local municipality of that cantonment. So these are the 2 basic demands, and this is how I personally feel that what we call that we are yet slaves, we are treated like dogs, we have not got independence after 1947 still, we will get everything, and I will prove it in this very video that giving these 2 demands, there is going to be no loss to the ministry, there is going to be no financial crisis, things will equate, we will be in a better position. I know the minute these 2 demands reaches the people up there, many people in the present association which has been formed, who envy me to the end, would say Mr. Das is looking for compensation because his own bungalow has been resumed. Please, I have been resumed. I am sitting under a policy of resumption. I am sitting under a policy of compensation. I am not today sitting under a policy of Land Acquisition Act. But I make sure that I will be fighting the system for Land Acquisition Act, which I am demanding, which I can prove for everybody. So today's government, if you see, how does it compensate us? There is some policy of 1976, rebrushed in 1985. We get a 500 square yard plot, we get a Malwa charges of our bungalow built up estate. What is it? That also on a depreciated value of saying this is 100 years old. I got a record where we were given 8 lakh rupees for a bungalow in Mau, which the army created in hue and cry that how can it be 8 lakhs? They're not willing to pay us 1 lakh maximum for a bungalow, which is covering an area of about 10,000 square feet. What are we doing? I'll share it with you. In 1976, we were brought to 500 square yard policy. Prior to 1976, we were under a policy which used to say if my land which was being resumed under the GGO, if it was above 3 acres, I could get a 1,000 square yard plot. And if it was below 3 acres, I would have got a 600 square yard plot. Why has that been culminated to 500? Neither the higher person, neither the lower area acre person is getting that. Malwa charges are being given to us. And you will be surprised, 1976 policy even says that we will pay 50% of the collector rate of the 500 square yard plot. Why? Is the government doing some missionary or a favor to us? No. We bungalow owners have to get up, ask for it, fight for it. Just to rebrush you people, there was a policy in 1957 where the Ministry of Defence said, if you volunteer to give your bungalow, we will release 1/3 of your built up area's land and take away the 2/3 for resumption, and you will get no compensation. I think that was even much better than the 1976 policy. So we have to decide that after 1947, why are we put under a policy when the GGO itself says under regulation 4 and 5 we are given a resumption notice, under regulation 8 and 9 it is said how we will be resumed. So there are various codes, various documents, various registries. During the British era, it was adhering to that regulation 8, which very clearly said that the bungalow would be purchased. Friends, I have all those documents of evidence. When required by the executives or the ministry, I will exhibit them as a representation so that the word purchase is imbibed in, which is already there in the Bible of GGO 179. Today, a bungalow owner like me, maybe many must be talking, is made to run from pillar to post. My mother has died. 9 years down the line from 2011, the ministry is not willing to adhere to the High Court order. Will I call it a contempt? No. There are bungalow owners which I know. Bungalows have become deflated. Children are playing golf. And the bungalow owners, inheritors are actually running rickshaws. Just imagine what is the plight. They don't have a living for themselves. Most of our advocates will advocate on this point. No, we should look for ownership. What is the point? Why are advocates guiding us into a wrong stream? We should only look for a right compensation. 70 years, 90 years down the line, not even 0.1% of the win-win situation. If we move to the court and say, okay, fine, we leave the bungalow, give me my compensation under GGO regulation 8 and 9. Then, friends, I assure you, the army and the ministry will wake up. So, last but not the least, ask your advocate, if you are owning a property outside the cantonment boundary pillars, cannot the same property be acquired? But that has to go under the Land Acquisition Act. So please, let's finish off this, culminate our fight, make up living peaceful, and adhere to what the government demands us on resumption. Government is not looking for anything more than this. Am I right? So friends, this is one demand and this can be put forward. Our second big demand is going to be excision of all these 57 cantonments, civil area, defined under Rule 2 of the 1937 CLA. Just to refer all of you, Ambala Cant is the only cantonment in India which has been excised in 1977. And friends, I had been sharing it earlier also, that my late father Shri S.S. Das, being a very good friend of the then Defence Minister Bansilal, who was also from Haryana, being a board vice president, mooted this idea, and during the regime of G. Parthasarthi, when he was the CEO Ambala, I have all those original documents with me, as my father was the representative of the board, that Ambala was excised in 1977. So entire civil area, the 4 bazaars of this cantonment are excised, leaving the Topkhana Bazaar, or which is called the Royal Horse Artillery Bazaar, which can be done now also because there is a civil area in the vicinity of it. So bungalow people or residents of Topkhana Bazaar of Ambala Kent should stick to this demand of that, and an entire area can be excised. Okay. So what do we do now? Where do we look up? Where is it written in the law that this can be excised? How do we go to the government and say, why can't you do this? It is all written. Any area which is not in direct military use or purpose and for further requirement of the military, it should be given back to the civil authority. Friends, it is written in the Act itself of 2006 of 1924 or any. If anybody reads section 4, it very clearly says either some area can be added, whether some civil area can be deleted. We can move out of that. Similarly, it was written in the 1873 Army Regulations. It was clearly written, if some area is not required, the civil authority will be told about it, and that same area would be given back to the civil authority under Rule 1951 of the Army Regulation. So this transferability was always existable. So why cannot we do it today? I laid hands on the cantonment boundary pillars of Ambala cantonment, and all the 57 cantonments. Mostly all the cantonments have 2 sets of notifications. One would be in 1873, one would be in 1877. So what changed? Was there some add-on and subtract-on areas within the boundary pillars? Yes, it was. Today I shall disclose you that Ambala, as per the Gazetteer of Ambala, was always a civil municipality since 1862. When did it become a cantonment if it was a civil municipality? In 1944, as per the bylaws of 1937, there is a sale deed which says the entire Ambala Municipal Sadar Bazaar area was coming back to the cantonment. So this is all a talk, but these facts have to be put front in the ministry. I will quote you. There was a Balwant Rai Mehta committee way back in 1957. In para 95, it even went on to say, let's abolish these cantonments, which could not be mooted because the country was young on independence, so we wanted the army installations to be at its place. The further committee of H.C. Dasa Appa in 1961, in para 39 and 40 very clearly said that there were 18 cantonments in which civil area was recommended and accepted by the government to be released. Only 6 could do it in partial. Why the other 12 couldn't do it till 2020? So there are so many questions. So why don't we ask for this very area? And what is the area which we are looking for? The ministry should wake up. There is so much of problems in these civil areas, so much of congestion. The per square feet area as per the World Health Organization and the UNESCO treaties, that minimum 5 feet of area to an individual should be given, the population is clustering into it. In 1 square feet of the area, you have more than 3 to 4 people living. So the area what we are asking in these civil areas is very small. It is just 1359 acres as old grant properties in these civil areas of 57 cantonments, and merely 563 acres of leasehold properties. So the total area is not even 2000 acres, plus this Class C area, that is the roads and other amenities which have been done by the cantonment. So 2000 acres of area can always be released out of these 57 cantonments, now 56 or maybe now 55, because Kasol and Ambala have already been done. So friends, these are my 2 demands, and if put forward through the political channel or to the executive channel or to the judicial channel, I am ready with all the documents and notifications and laws put in place. So let's leave it up. Let's not fight for ownerships. Let's not fight for municipalization of civil areas or cantonments. Don't. Just simply, the minute we move out of these cantonments, we are a municipality. We will be governed by the constitution. So people have started asking for wrong things. Stick to these 2 demands. Excise the civil area. I think that would make sense how we want to work on this association or this platform. Now, my friends, I will ask you a very simple question. How many people, after watching my videos of regarding the records, land records, have started up talking to their neighbors, have created some small WhatsApp groups, have started searching for their documents? Please, if you've started, you've made local WhatsApp groups. If you're not associated with the local association, please join me. I've been hearing some whispering that some association members of the present team have been whispering that Mr. Das is a very expensive legal consultant. 17 years of my life to this subject. I'm not expensive for my bungalow owners and my residents. I'm only expensive for those who come at that stage to me when they've lost everything. Friends, wake up. Call me up, take a test of me whether I advise you or not. I'm not going to charge you anything for all that. I'll create all your evidence so that tomorrow, even if I'm not there, and next 20 years something goes wrong, you receive a notice or you are or your inheritor is in a position to fight. So I request everybody, my motto is very simple. We will fight back and never give in. Thank you. Good day, friends.